Potsdam, city of kings and of kaisers, of pastels and palaces, the final resting place of Frederick the Great. So I've just left my lovely little hotel in Potsdam, and it is snowing, as you can see. Fantastic stay. If you're ever going to do this trail, highly recommend taking the time to be around Potsdam. It's a very nice place to be, and I highly recommend it. So I'm now just heading northeast towards the Gleneeky Bridge of Spies, where I finished off my walk yesterday, and of course shall start today's walk. Today's quite a big one. Well, I think today's my longest day of the whole trip. So 25 miles. 25 miles, 8 o'clock in the morning. I feel pretty good. Well rested, well fed. I just lounged around the hotel with a big slap-up meal last night. Because I wasn't sure about tonight, because I think tonight's hotel is out in the sticks somewhere. So tea tonight might be a tuna sandwich from a garage. I really don't know. So yeah, onwards to the Gleneeky Bridge in a couple of miles. Potsdam was also the city which, in more than a hint of symbolism, was taken possession of by the Soviet occupying forces, and in showing who was boss, established a garrison there and a diplomatic headquarters. Prussian Potsdam became Soviet Potsdam. So here we are at the start of day 5, and the Bridge of Spies in front of me. So I'm just crossing the Gleneeky Bridge, very important monument in the history of the Cold War, very important checkpoint. Lots of spy exchanges and prisoner exchanges here took place here, right here. This is crunchy. Grief. So, onward. 25 miles ahead of me today. Hopefully not on terrain like this, which is melted snow, which is then turned into slush and sludge, and then refrozen again. And it is pretty gnarly stuff to walk on. But, you know, just take my time, conserve my energy, because I have to do another 25-mile day tomorrow. So, I am now over the bridge and back on the trail proper. I just need to locate it. Got a link here, I wonder. Ooh. No. So it's just a little monument, memorial to people, some people that died here. Yes, and I repeat myself again, this trail is more than a trail, it's a memorial to all the people that died trying to escape. And it is so well done and so well curated. It's also a third thing, it also feels like a kind of museum slash gallery. It's just really beautifully done. I'm so impressed with it. Oh. There's a lot of scrap metal going somewhere to be recycled. What I will do is I will follow the official trail religiously, and at a certain point I will dive off into the forest where I know this original checkpoint is. I mean, that is kind of verging on being a mansion, isn't it? Yeah, no, these are mansions, and they are filthy rich. Look at this place. Beautiful. It's just beautiful. Yeah. 4 miles. So it is 10 o'clock. I'm just over 4 miles in, so not making as good a time as I'd hoped. But yeah, I still have 21 miles to go today. It does feel like a slog, I have to say. These last 2 days are the tough ones. I mean, the Berlin Wall Trail is 105 miles, but with little walks to hotels and back at the start and end of each day's walk, it adds up to 120 miles over 6 days, so that's 20 miles per day as an average. Uh, I mean, if you're a keen walker or an avid hiker or poet, bon vivant, great adventurer like myself, then 20 miles a day over 6 days on flat terrain should be a bit of a breeze, really. It is, you know, and it is. It kind of is, basically. I'm quite tempted to nip in there and get myself something sweet. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I just had a little refreshment break. So I don't know when I'll see a shop again. So I think that solves my earlier worry about routes and finding things that I want to find, because the route here splits into two and you get a choice. You can go down that way or down this way. So I'm going this way. Because I know that the original checkpoint Bravo is down here somewhere. So yeah, so I had the choice of going kind of that way or this way. I think a lot of people do this trail on a bicycle. I don't think many people walk it. I think a lot of people do it in sections as well. The transport links to and from various starting and ending points are very good, apparently. But I don't think many people do it the way I'm doing it. After my refreshments back there, I feel a lot better. Some sugar, some protein, a bit naughty, but I needed the energy boost. You know, it's amazing what a bit of sugar and caffeine can do for the spirits. See, there are some nice textures there, and that is the type of thing I would normally rush to get my camera out and photograph, but I might as well not have brought my big camera. I am carrying around 1 kilogram extra weight for no purpose, really. I've barely used it. I've taken a few pictures on the first day, but it's just a bit of a pain to go in and out my bag, get this off, get everything off, just to go in and get a snapshot of that when I've got this action cam in my hand. So, oh well. See, if I hadn't have brought it, I would have been, of course, like, oh, I can't believe I didn't bring my camera. Look what I've missed. So this checkpoint ahead, there are 2 checkpoints that I'm going to look at today. Checkpoint Bravo. Yeah, we all know all about Checkpoint Charlie, don't we? I think most of us, do we? I think so. So we all know about Checkpoint Charlie. I'll be there tomorrow. It's just commercial nonsense really now. Nothing original remains as the major border crossing. But these, I think there's still quite a few things to look at. I think pretty much the original infrastructure is still in place for checkpoint Bravo. And there were 3 checkpoints. Obviously, you've probably worked it out by now. There was checkpoint Alpha, which was on the border of West Germany and East Germany, 100 odd miles to the west, and then an umbilical connecting West Germany to West Berlin via a kind of secured autobahn, patrolled constantly by the Stasi in their little unmarked cars. But to get into West Berlin, the maximum security West Berlin, you had to go through this checkpoint Bravo. And expect a couple of hours wait with your paperwork. Half of the people that were using it were military, so lots of red tape and paperwork to make things just really inefficient and hard work and try and put people off. So I can actually see the bridge in front of me a bit further on of where the original checkpoint Bravo used to be, because there were 2 checkpoint Bravos, and the second one was a much bigger complex than the first one. Okay, I don't think much remains of the first one, but I think there are a few huts still. I think the flagpoles are still there. But a lot of it has basically been reclaimed by Mother Nature. This bridge here was the original main road into Berlin. And just here, somewhere, is the original checkpoint Bravo. So, I don't think I can get to it there. And I think there's a guard tower over there somewhere. And somewhere in this water, that couple were murdered on their boat. So I am sure there will be a memorial to them somewhere. But I don't think I can get up to that bridge from there, so I'm backtracking a little bit to use this little road, slipway road, I think, ex-slipway road, up to it. So that's if I don't slip and fall on this treacherous road. It's absolutely dangerous. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, yeah, so original barriers either side of the road. You can clearly see this used to be something. It's the campsite that I was telling you about. I don't know if it's a campsite or caravan site. That's Looks like people live there actually. So, clearly see the death strip running along here. And then up there. And so the road I'm on, this is the highway to the new checkpoint Bravo, newer. And this is the old highway coming up here and running along the strip that way. So I'm here now. And here is some of the original infrastructure. The 3 flagpoles here. Take note of them. People checking under cars, guards checking under guards. So that is it there. Okay. Just gonna see what we can find. Wow. Yeah. Look at this. So those 3 flagpoles that I just showed you are right there. And they're still here. Even though this facility has been closed for about 50 years, something. So behind, in the middle there, was a hut, a guard hut. And this would have been one of the roads. This would have been the road running towards East Germany. And the road over there would have been the road coming in towards West Berlin. And there's something over there. Bit of infrastructure. So I believe that is original and was here during its checkpoint days. So it's difficult to believe that this was the main autobahn, motorway, highway into West Berlin at one time. This was the main road. So going in. Yeah, so this was in use during the 50s and 60s, earlier even, late 40s. You know, there wasn't always a wall here. You know, there was checkpoints, but there wasn't always a wall, obviously. You know, the wall went up in 61. Before that, the borders had been kind of psychological borders, official borders as well, but it wasn't a wall. There was no physical barriers. There was checkpoints. But, you know, people were going to and fro. The Soviet sector, British sector, the French sector, and the American sector. that's the remains of an old telephone booth. Is the old autobahn, abandoned autobahn. Double. That is him there. Yeah, this is it. On June 15th, 1965, the West Berlin businessman Hermann Dobler took the 21-year-old Elke Martens on a day trip on his motorboat. It was beautiful weather when they set off from Wannsee and headed to Griebnitzsee, turning into the Tetlow Canal at the Kolnhassen Bridge. The border in this section of the canal was difficult to recognise and poorly marked. A water barrier between the highway bridge blocked off the entire width of the canal. Neither of them was aware that the borderline was located 100 metres in front of this barrier. They were observed by two border soldiers stationed on the watchtower on the southern bank of the canal. One of the border guards opened fire when Elke Martens turned the boat around and headed towards the West Berlin bank. The guard aimed directly at the boat and its occupants. Hermann Dobler was hit 4 times on his knee, torso and head. He died immediately. A bullet grazed Elke Martens' head. She survived but sustained permanent damage from her injuries. But as I said, they did try the guard in court, and he said something really horrible, which just showed how brainwashed and militant those guards were. They weren't even trying to escape. That was just an error on their part. Neighbours, and they were neighbours. Same nationality, just divided by twisted ideology. Yeah, so traffic hasn't run along here for about 50 years, so although you can still clearly tell that this once was a major highway, nature's doing a pretty good job of taking it back, as nature always does. Picture myself driving along here in 1965 in my Volkswagen Beetle. Actually, no, I think I'll have a Mercedes. So, why not? Much better. So I'm walking down this road all the way to the newer checkpoint Bravo, which is still about another, I think the distance between them is about a mile and a half. But to my right over there would have been the wall. I'm content to be on this abandoned autobahn because you can clearly kind of see it. You know, who doesn't like post-apocalyptic style landscapes? It's so evocative when you can, with a double exposure, just see you know, 4 lanes of traffic coming up along here, 2 in each direction. This was essentially an umbilical for West Germans, basically. And of course, some goods and some trade, but not forgetting the military. So, must be getting quite close to the latter checkpoint Bravo now. I've been walking for well over a mile actually. There's quite a distance between the old one and the newer one. But if I listen carefully, I can hear the sound of an autobahn up ahead, not too far. And there we will find it. Just ahead there, curves around. There is an autobahn, the new autobahn. So we're very close now to the second checkpoint Bravo. Finally at the end of that abandoned stretch of road, which was fascinating, very enjoyable. The old road was swept down here and joined there, and then that would have been built after as a bypass, and then of course connected up. I believe they are original checkpoints. So I think the main kind of building was this on my right here. So that's where the military would check in. If you were going inbound on the other side, obviously. So essentially, it kind of just looks like a lorry stop now, really. So let's head across over the other side to see the inbound checkpoint. A much, much, much bigger facility than the original, as you can see. Much bigger. So I'm reliably informed that if you were part of the British military, you would go into that building there through those doors and check yourself in. There it is. I mean, it does look like most of the service stations in the UK. So, Checkpoint Bravo. Pleasure to meet you, finally. But it's just a quick passing visit, as I am not great for time and I have to get back on the trail. Oh, yeah. As you can see here, the wall running straight through here, and I'm here, Checkpoint Bravo, and this huge complex here, I believe was the East German side. It's now been repurposed into a palace of consumerism, I believe. Just see the queues. So, that's that. Onwards. So now, I really have got to get my head down, get these miles ticked off. It's about 15 miles of the day left, so it's like I'm just starting a walk in a way. If I was back home, you know, I do a lot of 15-mile walks. So I just feel like I'm about to start one, really. I think it will be fairly late by the time I get to my hotel, and I think it might be in the dark, you know? The last hour maybe. But I've got my head torch, so I'm all set. Wow. So sunny now. It's actually hurting my eyes, giving me snow blindness. So I am on the official trail. I've deviated slightly from my intended route along the actual footprint of the wall, which is about 100 metres down there, because I just needed to get a few miles under my belt on this proper tarmac. I don't want to do too much of this walk in the dark, so I just thought I'd get my head down for a little bit. It's just delightful. So I'm currently heading south to a place called Teltow, and that will be about 12.5 miles into the walk, with about the same again remaining. So basically the halfway point. I mean, it's tempting to dive in there and get some refreshment, but I need to get a bit further in first. Looks cool though. So, I have reached a place where Berlin's buses do a U-turn and circle back in. So, the edge of town basically. So I should be heading back out into the sticks now, I think. So that's Teltow over there. So not quite out in the sticks yet. I will be later on in a while. So I'm now kind of surfing the most southern reaches of Berlin metropolitan area. Brandenburg over there basically. So no sign of any refreshments here, I'm afraid. I've just left Teltow behind, and there didn't seem to be much going on there in the way of refreshments. So rather than deviate from the route too much and go into the centre of it, I decided just to carry on. Hopefully I might find a garage or something along the route, because I'm pushed for time now. It's 2:30 and I still have over 11 miles to do. So 2:30, 3:30. I've got about 2.5 hours of daylight left, I think, a bit more maybe. So I've still got a long way to go. So I need to crack on with it. Yeah, another guardsman who tried to escape and was murdered by his own. Which goes to show you that not all those guardsmen were radicalised. Far from it. When you're living in a regime like that, most people are just trying to keep their head down, feed their families, look after their wives and children, surviving from day to day, week to week, basically. Not evil at all, just caught up in a bad situation. But I imagine a lot of those guards were just fearful of being dobbed in, turned in by one of their colleagues or friends even, family members even. Yeah, this is the thing with the GDR. A massive portion of the population were spies, essentially, and spying on their friends and family. And of course, you got a little extra perk if you were working for the system. You know, a few extra perks. You could treat your family a bit more. Holidays in Prague, maybe. I think there were hundreds of thousands of them that worked for the Stasi. You know, so everybody was in a constant state of paranoia and fear that any one of their friends or family could be an agent, and that's how they kept control. There is a great film, The Lives of Others. You know, if you want to watch a film about Cold War life in Berlin under the GDR, then I recommend that film, The Lives of Others. It is, I would say it is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece, no question. It's just one of the best films I've seen, actually. Incredibly well made, incredibly moving piece of work. And, you know, if you're watching this now, episode 5, and you're interested in this history, watch that film. Take my word for it. So I'm just going to come off the path, see what this, because I am now in the death strip. This is the death strip. So this little bit was about 20 metres wide. That's it. So I'm kind of in the middle of it now. See, from above it's very, very clear. You can see it very clearly on the maps. A lot of it is forested now, but some sections like this have kind of, for some reason, not had trees growing in all parts of it. Maybe something, I don't know. But yeah, this is the death strip. This is what it looks like. So back onto the service road. So over here there's trenches as well. So more perimeter fencing probably. So aside from the two high walls, could have just come down here. Aside from the two high walls, there were some low walls as well. Yeah, it's amazing to think. Incredible to think that I would have been shot on the spot just for standing there at one time. You can clearly see this trench here, this kind of guttering, probably something to do with moving water. Straight line, man-made. Yeah, you can kind of very clearly see it here. You know, I have to say, in a lot of areas you would never know it's there. It's just nature has completely taken it back with the help of the local authorities. You know, it's just gone. But you can clearly see the evidence of it here. In the fading light, in the farthest southern reaches of Berlin. So I'm right here. I've just walked along this waterside edge. And I'm about to head down south. Yeah. But I think over here there is a little bit of original wall infrastructure. It wasn't the wall itself, it was kind of secondary wall. Yeah. That's interesting, like the way the trees kind of turn corners. So the wall turned the corner here, headed south. I think right here where this house was, on the left, was a guard tower. So came along here and then turned a right angle corner down here and headed south, which is where I'm going, obviously. You can see there a photograph of them dismantling the wall on this very path, I think. And some guards stood next to some of that fencing. More fencing there. Purposely they kept it clear here. And as you can see, they've planted these lovely trees, which I bet look wonderful when they are in bloom. Well, I know they look wonderful when they're in bloom because I've seen photographs of them. Wow, this is really, really good. Yeah, this is very moving actually. Eric Haneker will be turning in his grave. Good. Okay, so there is another more than 90-degree turn now. I'm swinging left and heading northeast. So that's where we are standing right now, right there. There would have been a guard tower right there. Ugh. So this service road ran right through the centre of the death strip. So either side of me and either side of the path is where it was. 4 p.m. now. Light fading fast still. And I've just over 7.5 miles left to go. basically just said goodbye to the sun, pretty much. I've just taken another 90-degree left turn, heading east again, and I am 20 miles in to this walk with 5 miles to go. So, on the final leg. So I've reached my last corner for the day. I've just come from down there. Now I'm taking a 90-degree left turn and heading down there, east. And this is the most southerly point of my entire walk, right here, on this corner. The sun has gone down. I am on the dregs of the light now, and I have about 4 miles to go before I reach my hotel. So, I'm now heading north again for the first time in a while, and I am about 2.3 miles from my hotel. So far I am literally in the middle of nowhere. I hope, I just have to hope that the hotel is serving some sort of food, or there's something near it. I'm sure there'll be something, even if it's a garage and a tuna sandwich. It's only a little village, but I'll be there in a couple of miles. Before that, I need to get to the end of today's route, which is about a mile away. So I've got about a mile of the actual Berlin Wall trail left to do. The road. So I've just been walking on ice. This dodgy stuff. It's just ice. I've just been walking on it for the last couple of miles. Totally miserable. But I'm at the road which I need to be on to find my hotel. And this is the end of my walk for today. Day 5. Day 5. Right there. No, not that one. So here, the end of day 5. 24 miles done. 1 mile to the hotel. 95 miles done in total. And 25 miles to go tomorrow. So at this point here, I'll just say good night.